and all that stuff. Well, we can treat this differently. I'm going to put this in, and the amount of water is, it's like wet sand. And really I don't need water at all, but very, very small amount of water.
Come on, camera.
Yeah, and it's a good idea to brush the sides down, but I'm not going to. This is actually more water than we need. Now you can cook this in a regular pot. The reason I'm cooking it in this pot is because we're going to work with some show peels. Show peels were invented so you guys could, when you get out in the industry, you can make a very, very quick show piece or amenity, very fast, and you don't have to spend a whole lot of time, and they're still very impressive. And they have all kinds of show peels, bugs, fish, and leaves, and things like that. Chef doesn't have them all, but I have a whole bunch, so if you're interested in something, let me know. Now, once you get this Isomalt and you don't want to use it anymore, heat it up, pour it out in a silk vat, and just save it, because we can cook it down and use it for glue sticks or anything like that. Or assembling pieces together. So I'm going to go ahead and kick up this temperature now. And we'll get this covered. And again, we're going to cook this to 340 at least. And then what we want to do is, once we cook this, these are the show peels. So you can see that I haven't cut out some. Some of these I just bought for these classes. So you can see that it has the look of the fish, you know, and then there's bigger ones of the same fish. So you can see there's bigger ones of the same fish there. We just have to cut those out. If you want them cut out, the chef will cut them out for you. It's not that I don't trust you. Shells, there's different size shells, sailfish, leaves, more shells. Here's a seahorse. Okay. Yeah, like I said, there's some in here that were cut out. Butterflies. Chris did one where she had some butterfly wings on her piece because she did a frog or whatever. So there's all different types. I just brought in a few so you can kind of look at those and play with. This is actually a dragonfly and has the dragonfly wings or whatever to go with it. So and I'll show you how these work. Now you could color this Isomalt too. It wouldn't make any difference. I'm going to go ahead and cook this. And again, it would be best that you guys crush this down.
You were saying this is of no need for an acid.
Here's what now?
No need for an acid in an Isomalt.
No, I mean, but you can't use this. There's a method for cooking this down. I'd be glad to give it to you, but you're not going to use this in class. The only thing this is going to be used for is either gluing or if you're having some kind of piece that is clear, or show piece, or lace or nut sugar, which is different. You're not going to use Isomalt for just cooking like sugar for your pieces or whatever. It's just too expensive. And you can see that chef is actually stirring this after it boils. So see, I'm not taking great care. Just trying to get this stuff cooked. Okay, so we'll let that cook. And the way you handle these is it has a little tab on here, and you have to be careful. I mean, we're not, you know, just going to stick our hands in here or whatever. So you have to be careful. What we're going to do is we're going to drag this across the top of the surface of the Isomalt. And we don't want it to the edge to get covered up here because then it's hard to peel these off and see it. If you can, I think a couple of you had a little silk back in here. Let me just borrow that for a second. Yeah. And we'll just do a fish just so you can see it. You guys can play with these if you want to. So here's the seahorse. You can see how delicate it is. Because what had happened is we used this and cut that part out after the fact, after it's all done. So it can be quite delicate. So let's do a little fish here, and maybe a shell or a sailfish. And could I have a bowl of water? It doesn't have to be ice water, but get a big bowl of cold water. We'll shock this.
Is there silicone?
Yep. And they use these for chocolate also. And you can also use them to make impressions in your passage and impressions in your fondant stuff too. So you can actually put passages in yours. You take the time, take care to wash the sides down. Just kind of do what Chef says, not what he does. And it won't take any time to cook this because there's barely any water in here. We have to take to a higher temperature, but it's going to go pretty fast because we have a very, very, very small amount of water. We're already at 314. We're just about there. We're going to go good. So we're at 340. I think so. We'll see. Now I want to shock it just briefly so you can see that this was probably 350, okay, right around there, climbing still, and you can see that it has very little to no color. You can cook it to 340, pay a little bit more attention to it than I did.
If you're going to add color, when do we add it?
You can add it at any time, it does not matter, because it doesn't discolor like sugar does.
Okay. And it's the powder, the water.
Yeah. Now there are some colors that you can add right in. They're pellets. I don't know if we actually have any here. But you can add them right in into the sugar that it doesn't need any water. And you just have to be careful how they dissolve. So I'm going to take this, set it here. Now the ideal temperature for this is 310 to actually work with this. So here's what we do. And we'll try one here to just kind of experiment to see what the temperature is. So you're going to take it like so. I'm going to ease it down in there. And kind of drag it across the surface. Now the way to tell if it's too hot, it doesn't fill all the voids. It leaves a little bit of spottiness. You couldn't see that, but it actually just kind of opened up there a little bit. So we're still a little bit hot. So we have a little bit of time, which is good. Now for pulling and blowing, we have special gloves over there. So use those only for pulling and blowing, not for anything else. That way they'll protect your hands a little bit better and they fit a whole lot nicer than these ridiculous things that we have. Okay?
Could you re-dip that, or you have to wait and start over?
Well, I could re-dip it, but then it starts to get too heavy, okay? And just throw that face down on the stainless steel over there. We can take it off in a matter of seconds here. So I'm going to take this and then we're going to try it again here. And that one's much better.
Are you looking for the honey consistency with this as well?
310. So you'll know when it's too cold because it just gets too thick. And Now I've got a little bit in between his fin right here. I could use a skewer and take that off while it's still warm. I'll probably just deal with it afterwards, okay? Because I can go in there right now with a skewer and kind of clean that up. And these can just wash up. They don't need any soap or anything. Yeah. So just those couple of minutes is all you needed. Then you can take your hand and kind of clean off that. This, you don't have to worry about it crystallizing, so if you get little pieces back in there, it's not a huge thing. Just work around them. Like I said, you could color it. And also airbrush it afterwards. We'll do some airbrushing next week as you get your pieces a little bit closer to finishing. Just watch that it does not go on the back. You can probably still get it off, but it's a little bit more difficult.
You can get it on the tab, and you just use an X-Acto knife to put it on.
Yeah, a lot of it will break because it's fragile too. We'll see how that one turns out. That one needs to be cleaned up a little bit.